Anytime, anywhere, when war breaks out, it is civilians, especially women, who suffer the most. This war between Russia and Ukraine is no exception, and civilians, especially women, are suffering tremendously. It is known that during World War II, out of the 70 to 80 million casualties, at least 50 million were civilians killed due to deliberate ethnic cleansing, starvation, and mistaken bombings. Most war crimes were committed by the Axis powers. In particular, Nazi Germany killed about 4 to 5 million people in Poland and 6 million Jews in the Holocaust. And the Nazi massacre of more than 15 million civilians of enemy countries in the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe. And the size of this figure stands out in that it excludes the same number or more victims who died from the destruction of social support networks or starvation. The Japanese Empire also slaughtered about 8 million civilians in the Republic of China when estimated in the same way. And there were 4 million victims throughout Southeast Asia. They also dragged hundreds of thousands of young women from Korea, China, and Southeast Asia to the battlefield and exploited them as sex slaves. Similarly, in Ukraine, suspicions have been raised that the Russian army has massacred hundreds of civilians in the vicinity of the Ukrainian capital Kyiv, and even sexually assaulted them in the process of withdrawing from the northern front of Ukraine. Western allies, including the United States and Europe, have strongly condemned the actions of the Russian military and called for a war crimes investigation. In particular, the European Union has announced additional sanctions against Russia. During the World War II, the rape of women was also prevalent. In most cases, victims were gang raped multiple times, not just once. This time in Ukraine, there are not as many civilian casualties or rape victims as in World War II, but still a significant number. According to major foreign media, such as the BBC, CNN, the New York Times, and AFP on April 3rd, Ukrainian authorities announced that they had recovered 410 civilian bodies from Kyiv on the same day. In addition, complaints from Ukrainian citizens of being sexually assaulted by Russian soldiers persist. AFP news agency reported that the situation in Bucha, a suburb of Kyiv, was serious, saying that evidence that the Russian army massacred civilians as they retreated from the Ukrainian counterattack was being confirmed. AFP, citing deputy local officials, explained that about 300 civilian bodies were recovered in the area and 57 buried bodies were also found. Deputy Mayor Anatoly Petrov said the civilians were executed by the retreating Russian army and suffered inhumane treatment at the hands of the Russian army. Ukrainian presidential aide Mikhailo Podolyak tweeted the day before that the body of a civilian male was found shot dead by Russian soldiers with his hands tied. European Commission President Charles Michel, who tweeted the hashtag collective genocide, was shocked by the atrocity of the Russian military confirmed by AFP news agency and warned of additional sanctions against Russia. British Foreign Secretary Liz Truss said the day before that Russia had targeted civilians and that the UK was collecting evidence to hold Russia responsible for its war crimes. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken also appeared on CNN on April 3rd and said that he had felt punched to a gut when a large number of civilian bodies were found near Kyiv. Blinken said the appropriate agency or institute would bring all the information together so that we could see exactly what happened in Ukraine. Reports of sexual assault involving Russian soldiers are increasing. The Guardian reported that the bodies of a man and 3 women were found all naked in blankets on a highway outside Kyiv on April 3rd, and parts of the bodies had been set on fire. The Guardian reported that this was evidence that the Russian military had raped and tortured civilians. This is not the first time that Russian soldiers have been accused of raping Ukrainian women. On the 28th of last month, the British daily The Times published an interview with the victim Natalia. Natalia testified that two Russian soldiers shot and killed her husband, and the two took turns sexually assaulting her. A woman in her 30s who dramatically escaped from Irpin on the outskirts of the capital Kyiv told local journalist Euro-Mail Press on the 21st of last month that Russian soldiers raped women hiding in basements and fired randomly at innocent civilians. Russian Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov dismissed this claim as a lie, saying he did not believe the statements of the woman in her 30s from Ukraine.